What's happening, guys? Today I'm going to talk about mini cuts. We're going to cover when you should do a mini cut, if it makes sense for you or not, how aggressive you should be with your calorie reduction in a mini cut, and how long you should do it for. So if you've been thinking about or wondering about mini cuts, stay tuned. All right, this is actually a question that I've gotten several times in the last couple weeks now. I've probably had 4 people ask me about mini cuts recently. So I thought it would be a good opportunity to make this video and talk about them. So a mini cut, if you don't know, is basically when you take a really short time and go into a cut just to lose a little bit of body fat before going back into your reverse diet. So it's typically you're in a reverse diet, you've been doing it for a while, and you take a little bit of a break from the reverse to get a little bit of the fat off before going back into the reverse again. In all honesty, I very, very rarely recommend a mini cut for anybody. It always kind of depends on where they're at in their journey, so to speak, right? Where they're at metabolically, where they're at mentally, so both physically and mentally, it makes a difference. And I find for the most part, it's usually not a good option for people. I think it's more of an option for people who are more experienced, have a good relationship with food, a good relationship with the scale. They're in a long building phase where they're trying to build muscle, and they're just kind of getting to a point where things are getting a little bit uncomfortable. Their jeans are fitting a little tighter than they'd like, and things are kind of getting away, just getting to a point where they're just a little bit uncomfortable and would like to cut that back a little bit. If they've been doing the reverse for a very long time and they're still going to be doing it for a while longer, then I think it can make sense. Where it doesn't make sense is you've been dieting on and off for years, you've been yo-yo dieting forever, and you've just started a reverse and you've been doing it for 2 months and now you want a mini cut. No, that is not what we want to accomplish. That's not going to help anything. That's not going to help anything mentally. It's definitely not going to help anything physiologically. It's only going to put you further behind. What's most likely going to happen is you're just going to adapt down to those low calories. You're not going to see any fat loss because you haven't taken enough time to work on your metabolism, and then you have to start the reverse diet all over again. So a mini cut for somebody who is not in a good position is actually really dangerous and very it's just not something that I would recommend most of the time, because I think that you're going to do more harm than you are good going into a mini cut. So if you haven't been reverse dieting at least as long as you had dieted previously, the thought of a mini cut should not even come across your mind at all. So, I mean, if you dieted for 6 months and you came back and you've been reverse dieting for 3 months, absolutely not. A mini cut would be a terrible idea. Even at 6 months, I would not recommend it for most people. It still has not been long enough, and you want to make sure you give your body time. So if it's been 9 months, if it's been 12 months, and you want to continue to build, okay, but you're getting a little uncomfortable, okay, now maybe we can go through a little bit of a mini cut and get some fat off and go back. But it wouldn't make sense if you're not going to be reversing for a while longer and building for a while longer. So like if you're going to stop your reverse and cut in a month or 2 months, there'd be no point in going into a mini cut and then coming back out and then starting your reverse again and then coming back and just doing a full cut. It would make no sense. So it'd be one of these things where you've been reversing for a long time, you still want to build for another half year to a year, and you just are getting a little bit uncomfortable. Okay, now let's knock some fat off real quick and get back out, and then let's go back to building again. But I cannot stress enough, if you are in a reverse diet because you're trying to improve your metabolism from a long history of dieting, if you're trying to get yourself in a spot where you are in a good spot metabolically so that you can diet again down the road, this is not the time to mini cut. It would be a really bad idea, and it's probably going to put you further behind than it would ahead. Right? We got to get away from that thought process of always being focused on the scale and focusing on how you look and thinking big picture. It's these short-term changes and these short-term outlooks that always sacrifices everybody's long-term goals, and we want to get away from that. So especially if mentally you have not kind of made that shift yet where you can appreciate each phase for what it is, I don't think it's a good idea. Now, if you are in a spot, both mentally and physically, where a mini cut might make sense, what should you do? Right? A mini cut is not 12 weeks of cutting or 16 weeks of cutting. A mini cut is exactly what it says. It's mini. It should be really short and sweet. It needs to be aggressive and it needs to be short. So typically a mini cut will be like 2 to 4 weeks. and you're going to be really aggressive because you want to make sure that you hit those fat stores and then get back out again. You're not going to be spending a lot of time in it, so you can be more aggressive without the more long-term negative consequences that come from dieting aggressively for doing a long period of time. If you do it short, there's not going to be as much adaptation that happens, and you can take advantage of some really good quick fat loss and get back out. So you may cut your calories by 1,000 and do a little extra cardio right off the bat to get in and hit that deficit hard, get some fat off, and then get back out, and then go back to your original. I wouldn't go all the way back to the calories that you had prior to doing a mini cut, but you'd get pretty close to it. So if you were reversing on 2,500 calories, you may not jump right back up to 2,500 calories after the mini cut, but you may jump up to 2,300 or 2,200, you know what I mean? And then make some more aggressive steps up. You should be able to get back to that pretty dang fast. It really just kind of all depends on a lot of different factors, really. So bottom line, I don't recommend mini cuts for very many people. If you have been in a long building phase and you plan on continuing the building phase for a long time, it might make sense. Make sure you are aggressive and you only stay in it for 2 to 4 weeks and then get back out again, right? Don't spend a lot of time in a mini cut. So hopefully this video helped. Any questions, please let me know, and I will talk to you later.
I'm addicted to the love that you're giving. Every minute, every day I've been craving.